Welcome back to the Seat Unique Stadium here in Bristol, where Gloucestershire are going to resume their innings, although they didn't have a ball faced, because the umpires took the players off for bad light before they could face the ball, and then we've had a huge rain delay. But you join us with Sussex having had 455 for 5 declared in their first innings. Gloucestershire then responded with 248 all out, and they were asked to follow on and will be resuming at 3:30 with a minimum of 44 overs in the game. Ian, is it game on, or is your 8p on the draw?
Is my 8p on the draw? Yeah, I think Gloucestershire would be absolutely horrified if they felt that Sussex could bowl them out in 44 overs. In theory, I believe the captains could shake hands at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So they've got an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And if they are no more than 2 wickets down at that point,
yeah,
you would have thought that the captains would see sense and probably shake hands at that stage.
But strange things happen.
Things happen in cricket. I absolutely get that, and one might argue nothing's much stranger than the clatter that we saw yesterday.
Yeah, you never know.
But Sussex at that point didn't have a limited number of overs to bowl Gloucestershire out, did they? Whereas this time they do. So I think if they have any hope, they have enough runs. Clearly they do. They have a lead of 207. Gloucestershire are not going to even remotely think about trying to get 207 in 44 overs to get their noses in front. 107 for 2 in 44 overs would be absolutely fine. One might argue 50 for 2 after 20 overs might still be fine to actually secure the draw. That's where we might be heading.
Well, strange things happen, but we're just going to take a quick break. We're going to put the kettle on, and we'll be back here for the time the umpires come out at 3:30. We'll see you soon.
Is he ready? Very well done, and he's done superbly. And it's a big shot straight away from Phillips. There we go, he might have just turned his bat on.
Welcome back, as the umpires are not a million miles away from making their way out onto the pitch. Here they come. Umpires Billy Taylor and Mark Newell, both ex-Sussex. Taylor playing for Hampshire as well. As the Sussex fielders, ably led by Cheteshwar Pujara, congregate on the edge of the boundary. And we're going to see Chris Dent and Marcus Harris make their way out to the middle.
It's a glorified net, this, isn't it? It should be.
Well,
because there is no pressure to score runs.
Yeah.
If this was, and Gloucestershire resumed 207 runs behind on first innings, if this was a genuine fourth innings chase of 207 in 44 overs, you would say the game is absolutely set up, and you'd think that the batting side is probably favourite, because taking 44 wickets, as the game at Lords, was it last week, is actually taking 10 wickets in 44 overs is actually pretty difficult.
Yeah, I'm not sure. A couple of early wickets here, and, you know, panic could set in with Gloucestershire. I'm not sure whether, you know, I just think there could be some cricket left in this, Ian. I really do.
Well, Sussex know that they can't linger in terms of getting some headway in the game. They've got to get 2 or 3 quite quickly to keep, in a sense, to keep the umpires interested in staying out there.
Yeah.
Cheteshwar Pujara is an experienced, you know, first-class player. He will know that you've got to really break through the top order, get into that what they might perceive as a vulnerable middle order, and try and get. They've got to get. What's 44 times 6? More than 300.
250, 264.
Right, there we are.
Is it? 44 times 6.
Yes, 264, correct. That abacus you were talking about earlier on is well,
yes.
well in the boot of your car. So, yeah, McAndrew has probably got to be as inspired in this spell as he was in the first innings.
Yeah, but he's got the overheads. He's got a little bit of damp conditions to work with. He's got the floodlights on. It's murky here, and conditions aren't easy for batting, especially against the new ball. So let's see what happens.
That new ball may get
wet.
That's not ideal. So with Sawdust marking his run, as you can see on your screen, McAndrew in to bowl to Chris Dent, who defends out on the onside. The simple fact is Gloucestershire have to survive.
Yeah.
The run total is kind of irrelevant, really. But the weather has helped them a bit, but we shouldn't underplay the role of Ajit Singh Dale with Miles Hammond this morning in eating up an hour for the last wicket, when that could have been gone in 3 or 4 overs. But Singh Dale hung around for the best part of an hour and a half. He only made 10, but he gave Hammond invaluable support, and Hammond himself went from 42 to 87 not out. Dent hit on the pad and given. He drags himself away, a judged LBW from around the wicket. It hit him on the back leg.
Well.
Don't think it was going over. And Sussex have a wicket in the first over. Chris Dent heading back to the pavilion, and they are 0 for 1.
Well, that's put the cat amongst the pigeons, isn't it? That's the second LBW for a left-hander that McAndrew's got from around the wicket. The umpires have swapped ends, so that was Billy Taylor that time, wasn't it? Because they swap ends during the...
At the end of the first innings.
At the end of the first innings. But, for me, somebody coming right arm around the wicket has to be pitching it on the stumps and straightening it, because it's probably going on to miss leg stump there. And here comes to the wicket a man who I thought was possibly quite harshly done by in his first innings. He was adjudged LBW by McAndrew coming around the wicket, and that's James Bracey.
So Bracey would have been mentally getting himself ready for this from the moment actually when the players went back out at about 20 past 12. That was about the time when the second innings would have started. And McAndrew with 4 slips to bowl again to Bracey. Pushes that up to Tom Haynes at mid-off.
A few Sussex fans enjoying themselves, trip to the West Country. They've sampled the local hospitality, I believe, and they are having a good time here in the West.
Yes, one or two of them might have been thinking, well, we'll head back down the motorways when the rain came at lunchtime. But they've stayed on, and Bracey lets that go outside the off stump. Only the game here and the game at Leicester in play. Leicestershire were heading towards safety. They lead Glamorgan by 145. They're 203 for 1 in their second innings.
Rishi Patel's got 100 there, I believe. Second 100 of the season for him. Good player.
Gloucestershire starting their second innings 207 runs behind, but it's all about batting time here. McAndrew outside the off stump, too wide from a Sussex perspective, and James Bracey lets that go. One or two of the scoreboard systems that we use are not updating at the moment, so the one on the ground is the one that's important. Gloucestershire 0 for 1. Chris Dent, LBW to McAndrew. In this, the first of a possible 44 overs. And Bracey pushes at that. It's a good line from McAndrew, who, to all the left-handers, has bowled around the wicket. And who's going to share the new ball with him? The answer to that is Sean Hunt from the left armour from this pavilion end.
Yeah, Sean Hunt. He went none for 47 off 12 in the first innings, so he'll be looking to open his account in this game. He'll be bowling to the Australian Marcus Harris. You can drop us an email. Our address is commentators@glossccc.co.uk. There we go. There's Ian Randall and myself, Dan Whiting. We'd love to hear from you.
I'm glad they pointed out who's who there.
So am I. I'm joking here. I'm joking. Right, Sean Hunt, pavilion end. Here he comes. That sort of lolloping run up into the crease, and Harris defends into the onside. Sussex fans in the ground in full cry.
I think the Sussex slip cordon's in full cry as well, actually.
Yeah, like the seagulls down at Hove. Another wicket here. And those Sharks will really have their tails up. Hunt in. Harris, pleasant looking shot. Well fielded by Tom Haynes.
He's an enthusiastic clapper, isn't he, Ollie Carter?
They're like cymbals on his hands, aren't they? They're very loud.
I wonder if he plays the drums during the winter.
Hunt short.
Can't waste a ball here if you're Sussex, can you? You might say that. Is that a waste of a delivery? Was it just letting Harris know that you can still get some life out of this pitch on the fourth day?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Those marks you can see are from McAndrew's approach to the wicket. All that sawdust.
Long way to go in this game. Oh, Harris plays inside that one. He doesn't actually play at that. Just he plays inside it, and it looks to the naked eye as if he's playing it, but the bat's well away from the ball.
Just going back to that last wicket stand earlier on today, and indeed Miles Hammond's effort in his innings. He was in for 12 minutes short of 4 hours, so it was a long old knock.
Hunt in, no ball. There's a couple onto the total, so Gloucestershire open their account. Yeah, I thought I was very impressed with Miles Hammond, actually. I thought he showed a lot of application, thought he showed a lot of grit, and we spoke about certain Gloucestershire batsmen probably throwing their wicket away yesterday, and you can't throw that at Miles Hammond. Harris tickles him through the leg side. Pujara's giving chase, gives way to the younger Crocombe, and Bracey scampers through for a third.
Well, I think to quote a well-known television programme which has a 3-word title, each of which is the same, you would say convert, 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 wouldn't you? And that's what you've been wanting Hammond to do better, in terms of convert starts into significant scores. Now, he ran out of partners here, but that wasn't his fault.
No, like really impressed with him. Hunt to Bracey. Oh, that's out. Bracey's nicked off. Carter, diving catch. Sean Hunt has got rid of the Gloucestershire number 3. That's a good catch there by Carter. That's low. And safe pair of hands. And Gloucestershire are in trouble.
Well, what did we say? Needed to get early wickets if you're Sussex to have any sort of chance. 2 in the first 2 overs. And having been lauded, if that's the right word, as the hero of the first innings to get Gloucestershire almost to a batting point, and certainly being by some distance the top scorer, here he is again, batting on the same day in the second innings, rather faster than he'd have wanted to. Miles Hammond walking back out to the middle.
That was a good delivery by Sean Hunt, though. He, he angles it in. Bracey had to play at that. It wasn't as if he was fishing wide of his off stump because of the angle. And he had to play, and the ball just held its line, took the outside edge. And it was a decent catch there by Carter. If he hadn't bowled a no ball earlier in the over, it wouldn't be out. Here's the angle. Let's have a look at this from behind the wicket. So Bracey had to play at that. It's a good delivery. And
he's walking too.
Yeah.
Even before the umpire's finger's gone up, he's walking.
I mean, you don't mind if someone's got out like that. That's, that's life, isn't it? What you don't want is Gloucestershire to be throwing their wickets away.
4 slips for McAndrew. So Hammond's gone to the non-strikers then. Marcus Harris to face his fellow Aussie on the Ashley Down Road end. Nudges that into the leg side, but it's fielded by again, I think might be Crocombe there, at just in front of square. Lights are on, as they have been all day. So we've had 2 days in this match when the sun has been shining brightly in virtually every ball we've had, and 2 days where the lights have been on. And the 2 days where the lights have been on, the bowlers have been on top. It's a tumbling stop from Finn Hudson-Prentice. The one thing about McAndrew here is that he knows he's got 2 bursts, I would think, in a game of, or in an innings of this potential length. So he knows he's not got a long day in the field and another long day in the field tomorrow with a mountain of overs to bowl. Starts his run very specifically and outside the off stump. So yeah, some people walk past a marker, don't they, and then make sure that they're either on their right or left when they pass the marker. But he actually goes back almost to a line, puts his 2 feet together, and then pushes off from that point.
Sort of like you're taught to do in Colts cricket as a kid, isn't it?
What, to start from a specific point?
Yeah.
Rather than wheel round and kind of get it vaguely right by a marker. Here he is again, pushing off at the end of this straight approach to Harris, and is that got him as well? They like it to Sussex, but the umpire doesn't. Very nearly bowled him. He's very nearly bowled him.
I think that might have clipped the stumps, you know.
Let's have a second look at this. Oh, he's gone. If it's not straightened, it's bowled him, and it has, I think, straightened, literally made out of a crease mark. Very unlucky for McAndrew.
It's all happening here at the Seat Unique.
5 for 2, as you can see. Deficit 2, still 202. Overs remaining is the important number, the more important number. McAndrew again to Harris, who that's a little bit wider, he lets that go. But Harris was literally beaten all ends up by that previous ball.
He certainly was. He's a good bowler, McAndrew. Been very, very impressed with him. You know, we speak about Bristol being a flat surface. And Pujara's 151 is the abiding memory of this, but to extract the life out of it like McAndrew has, huge, huge kudos to him.
Past umpire Taylor once more. Again, that's 2 wide. And that's the end of an eventful over. Very nearly picking up a 3rd wicket, but Sussex have got 2 in the first 3 overs, with Chris Dant and James Bracey already out. Gloucestershire 5 for 2. The Harrison-Hammond axis. Important with Graham van Buren at 5. And then into a middle order which didn't give Hammond much support first time round.
Yeah, Graham van Buren on a king pair. Ollie Price, Jack Taylor, Tom Price, Africa Hart. Gloucestershire bat deep, they might be needed. Here's Hunt. Into Hammond. Where's that gone? That's a missed off stump by much. Carter can't believe that.
Just think, did Miles play down the wrong tube line there? Or has Hunt just not moved that? And it's just the angle of trajectory has made it seem a bit closer than it was. Good leaves and bad leaves, the old argument.
Oh, and that's gone in between Carter and first slip. It's all happening here. That's not good cricket. That is not good cricket from Sussex. Miles Hammond should be back on his way to the pavilion there.
If it goes between the keeper and first slip, then that's Carter's, isn't it?
Yeah, Sean
And
Hunt.
he is angry with himself too.
Sean Hunt will be fuming. Gloucestershire should be 5 for 3 as it is. That's 4 runs on the total there. Here's Hunt. Short ball. Hammond gets his bat out the way.
I wonder if at the end of the over James could find that delivery that Hammond has for us. He's nodding. Just have another look at it.
We're asking him to find Harris's one. We're asking him to find Hammond's one.
Have you asked him to find the Harris one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Yep, here we go. Let's have a look at this. Marcus Harris. Here we go. Oh, I think his bat's hit the ground there. That's what's... It hasn't missed off stump by much.
No, and
has it?
I say the fact I think it's straightened, it's actually beaten the stumps because it's straightened.
In the words of the late, great Sid Waddell, the breadth of a wire. Sean Hunt in. Hammond. I'm not sure he played at that. But I tell you what, Sussex are steaming here, aren't they? Fair play
I
to
was
them.
chat during the rain break downstairs with Adrian Harms from BBC Sussex, and he said the thing is with a young attack, sometimes you can get a very uninspired sort of session or even an hour.
Hunt. Hammond. Oh, there's a little bit of hesitation there as well.
But equally, the reverse is true. And we had a bit of that yesterday.
Yeah. When their tails are up, their tails are up.
Yeah. Just looking in the distance, Dan's sort of...
My barometer.
Yes, barometer is there are 4 pylons not on the ground.
Hunt to Harris, who gets that one off a thick outside edge all along the floor. Finn Hudson-Prentice doing the fielding.
And the question is, can you see the 4th one, which is the one that's furthest in the distance? And at the moment, we still can.
We still can, but it's not as clear as it was 10 minutes ago. Anyway, that's 12 for 2. That completes the over. Sean Hunt should have had a wicket here. Let's have a look. Carter, that's yours, mate.
Nobody went for that.
No.
Absolutely. Nobody went for it.
No.
It shows the split second that a keeper's got to react. But he just, whether he'd mentally switched off there,
Yeah.
I don't know, but that would have been comfortable height. He's got the gloves. The mentality of the keeper should be every ball is going to get an edge. That's where you start from, isn't it?
Should be.
Should be.
Should be.
This ball's going to get an edge. The next ball's going to get an edge. The next ball's going to get an edge.
Yeah.
You've got to be ready on that basis. But he clearly was not expecting that.
You've got to be expecting it.
12 for 2. A minimum of 44 overs. We've only had 4 and 2 wickets have gone already. McAndrew down the leg side. They're asking for that, but Hammond is staying put and umpire Taylor not interested. Sussex are going to appeal for a lot here, aren't they?
Oh yeah, got to ask the question. Nothing wrong with that.
Here's a repeat. There may have been a sound of some sort, even the faintest feather. Somebody thinks they hear something. You ask the question. Allsop, Coles, Carson and Orr are the 4 slips. First to 4th. You feel 4th is not quite in your shot. Just see him right on the edge of your screen. McAndrew, the focus really on him at the moment. That's a bit too wide. When he started his first spell yesterday, couldn't quite get his line right. He was bowling probably at least a set of stumps too far outside the off stump. And he's got a wicket already. To quote Dan from earlier, it's a bit of a mixed bag at the moment. But that Harris delivery was almost unplayable. He didn't get a nick, but it was a really, really good ball. Deserved more. McAndrew in. Hammond plays that nicely down the ground past mid-off, past Haynes. That will go all the way for 4. Nothing wrong with that as a shot. And given he's had a long innings in the first innings, both last night and today, he may actually feel he's in good touch rather quicker than some of the other batsmen.
Yeah, it's a very nice shot, that, Miles Hammond.
16 for 2. The notional figure Gloucester need to get to is 207, but the more important figure is how they survive these remaining 39.3 overs. McAndrew again from the Ashley Down Road end. That is down the leg side. It's a very good take by Carter, diving away. Could easily have gone for 4 byes. Our understanding is that it's possible that at any time after 5 o'clock the captains could shake hands depending on how things are going.
He's like a throwback, Carter, isn't he? To a bygone age.
McAndrew, short sleeve shirt again. A good carry there, but a little bit better, tighter line. A reminder that obviously throughout the season, all the Gloucestershire first team games are covered on a live stream. Next home game here is not until the 18th of May for the first team, which is against Durham, but the stream is also in action tomorrow. Western Storm are in action here after their win at Cardiff yesterday with all the Prendergasts on all the Prendergasts 100. 10:30 start, I think, tomorrow, if I'm right. James is getting his nodding at me. And the next championship game is at Derby on the 11th. And Hammond tries to pierce the field again on the offside, can't do it. Again, Haynes does the fielding. When the commentary will be provided by BBC Bristol and Gloucestershire's Ed Seaborn and Dave Fletcher from Radio Derby.
16 for 2. Miles Hammond, 9. Marcus Harris on 5. 2 overs from Sean Hunt and 2 from Nathan McAndrew. A couple of emails come in. Teddy in New Haven. What a start. 2 wickets down. Sean hitting right areas. Starting like the other young attack, starting to come of age. Here's Hunt. Oh, that's got to be close. And he's been given. Hunt's on fire. Harris pinned on the crease. It looked adjacent from here. Yeah, that's absolutely plumb. I think Harris knew it. And
not too difficult decision for
no, that's CCN and
Taylor to give.
Gloucestershire 16 for 3, and Miles Hammond should have been back in the hutch as well. And this is it's game on. It really is game on. And the top 3 are all out.
I do apologise if one or two gentlemen downstairs may have been using some industrial language there. Maybe they've had a beer in the rain break. So I just apologise if you may have heard something there that you shouldn't have done. Graham van Buren coming out in only the 6th over at number 5. So is this brittle batting, or is this just very helpful conditions, nothing to lose, short session of cricket, and Sussex literally putting everything into it, knowing that they've basically got 40 minutes or so to try and make a significant impact in this game. They weren't going to take a cluster of wickets late with a spinner.
No.
It's got to be done now.
No. I think it's a bit of both. Paul from Lancaster's been back on the email, and he's talking about Sussex's chirp. Saying Sussex seem like most teams these days to be rather adept at verbal encouragement and random enthusiastic clapping. That's in South London. Right, here's Hunt to Graham Van Buren on a king pair. Who defends that? And he's off him. Says this extends to the club game as well. He was at a Northern League match up in Lancaster, and before a ball had actually been delivered in the season, the wicket keepers and fielders were encouraging the bowler to keeping on going. He's just had 7 months off, lads, I felt like shouting out. The bowler then delivered 6 uninspiring balls that were extolled by his teammates in a manner befitting Flintoff's over to Langer. Oh, Hammond's in trouble here! Oh, nearly a run out. Van Buren, desperate to get off a pair, has nearly run out Miles Hammond.
Van Buren's call.
Hammond was on his heels.
I don't know whether there's a glare there between the two batsmen.
I think Hammond slipped actually as he was taking off, as he was setting off. I think he's slipped. But direct hit there.
You have to park that kind of miscommunication, don't you?
No.
With your batting partner, you can't let that fester while you're out there.
17 for 3. Hunt fires one in. Hammond digs it out. So Paul, I mean, it does go on in club cricket, and it's the modern game, isn't it? It's the modern game. I know you find it annoying.
We don't have to agree with it though.
No, we don't have to agree with it.
So forgive me here. When you're umpiring,
yeah,
do you have a word about excess chat like that?
It's defended back down the pitch. Yeah, you do. I mean, yes and no. I mean, there's things like when the bowler's running into bowl, stuff like that. That's a no-no. But yeah, I mean, if I think sort of any excess chat like that, you pull the skipper in and just have a little word, don't you? And sort it out, nip it in the bud early. Hammond clips Hunt through square leg. Crocombe, who's very quick, is after it, but they'll get 2 more runs. Hammond moves on to 11. He's just 2 short of 100 in the game. And the score is 19 for 3. But Sean Hunt is threatening here, along with his partner in crime, Nathan McAndrew, to put Gloucestershire deep into the abyss.
3 overs for 15 for Sean Hunt, but 2 wickets. And McAndrew, 3 overs, 1 for 4. He's got a right-hander to bowl at now, so he's going to come over the wicket to Graham Van Buren. Sussex heavily on the attack. I'll give you the field in a moment. And Van Buren can crack that away through a big gap on the offside for 4. That was too short. And Finn Hudson-Prentice will have to go and retrieve the ball from by the covers on the scoreboard side of the ground. So it's a 6-3 field, but they've got 4 slips. So on the leg side, mid-on, mid-wicket, quite square, and a long leg. And then 4 slips, a mid-off, and a point. So not an uncommon field for a side really hunting wickets in what is the last session of the match. 23 for 3. Van Buren on 5 after that boundary. Waits for McAndrew and just gets bat and pad close enough together to push it back up the pitch. But mind Sussex only won 1 first-class game, 1 championship game last year. And I wonder how much Paul Firebrace has felt over the winter and perhaps into this first month of the season. Performances can really only go one way, so he's trying to build them from an enthusiastic base, and they're going to get a bit of encouragement out of a performance like this. Van Buren again. stopped off his own bowling by McAndrew.
Yeah.
It's a fresh voice, isn't it? Fresh ideas, fresh drills and systems and thinking with it towards their cricket.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. It's they had Ian Salisbury last year. Paul Farbrace has come in, and Sussex look to have a harder edge than they've had for a number of years here. And credit to him, but they've got a very young side. Whether they stay the course, I don't know. But credit to Paul Farbrace and his team, because Sussex have outplayed Gloucestershire in this match.
Just again to this, McAndrew is putting some sawdust again into those foot marks more like on his run to the wicket. I'll come back to that after this ball again from the conversation that Kevin Howells had downstairs with Paul Farbrace. Here is McAndrew in, and Van Buren gets a thick inside edge. Goes down to Sean Hunt. He'll get one. He wasn't sure where that had gone. And it goes back, I think it was to what happened yesterday at Edgbaston. And he sort of cited this as an example where Dan Worrell, part of Surrey's last wicket pair in the match at Warwickshire, was being bowled a lot of short stuff by the Warwickshire bowlers, and he was helping himself. Thanks very much. McAndrew round the wicket again to Hammond. That's 4 more. That gap on the offside remains, and Hammond has smoked that through extra cover for 4, and Gloucestershire, where they can, are picking up the boundaries. 28 now for 3. Hammond to 15, and while the ball is retrieved from the car park, not by my car or Dan's, thankfully. Yeah, the question was put: if a plan that you've discussed for a particular batsman or pair of batsmen isn't being implemented by those on the field, what do you as a coach do? Do you have a quiet word through the captain, or do you sit them down and give them a fairly firm, stern talking to? And Farbrace said, oh, no, let's be clear. I do give them a firm, stern talking to.
Yeah.
Some people might use a different phrase, but that's the phrase I'll use.
Yeah, a drink would be sent out with a message.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
And that come back to that sort of edge that we're talking about. He's not standing for a discussed plan being dismantled by somebody on the pitch without good reason for it.
No, he's not standing for mediocrity either.
McAndrew again to Hammond, who lets that go outside the off stump.
One thing I would like to see, because runs are immaterial to Sussex here, I'd like to see Crocombe come in, or someone come in at short leg here as well, just to stop Miles Hammond from getting properly forward. Maybe even take the mid-off out and say to Hammond with 4 slips, right, you drive me through there. Encourage him to give him that gap, extra cover, or mid-off, and say, right, you drive me, and if you nick off, I've got a cordon there. They're waiting like vultures over a ailing wildebeest, aren't they, Ian?
Well, the gap at extra cover is still there for Van Buren. Here's Hunt again.
Hunt in. Van Buren drives handsomely, but can only find Haynes at mid-off.
I don't know whether Dale Benkenstein is of that ilk as well. I gather that he was not happy after the batting display last night.
Yeah.
Understandably. There may well have been a chat at the end of the day about it. Quite a firm chat.
Hunt into the wicket. Van Buren lets that go through to Carter.
Yeah, Sussex boys have had to be patient with this rain. They really could have done with probably another 60 overs would have been a very interesting day, or even a full day would have really given Sussex a chance here. They'd have had 80 overs had play resumed when it should have done.
Hunt into the wicket. Van Buren drives a little bit uppishly there.
didn't go quite through with it, which is really just as well because Haynes has got a big area to cover, but he's a tidy fielder. Same field for Hunt, just with basically the one man in front of square on the offside. This is the 8th over of a possible 44.
In comes Hunt, short. Meat and drink that to Graham Van Buren. Cuts him away for 4 runs.
We're going to see quite a few boundaries here, aren't we? Potentially, yeah. If there is a bad ball, then Van Buren will want to put it away. Chat between Pujara and Hunt.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see Van Buren get some runs. He's an absolute gent of a bloke, isn't he?
I think he and Marchand de Lange are probably 2 of the most polite people I've ever met.
I had a chat with Marchand this morning, and what a lovely guy. Van Buren just defends that one off his hip. Yeah, Marchand's the smiliest, happiest man in the world. Really is.
But you wouldn't want to face him
hurling
a projectile to you at 90 miles an hour.
No, I wouldn't want to face him. That's the last thing I want to do. Without a cricket ball in his hand, though. A gent.
Hunt round the wicket.
Yeah, he's coming around the wicket. Going to change the angle to Van Buren. Just squares him up a little bit. Van Buren defends that one down the pitch. That's another over ticked off the clock. And Gloucestershire will be wanting to count these down. 36 left for a draw.
Yes, 36 is probably going to be the maximum they can bowl. Just looking to see if Hudson Prentice has gone off for a moment and Tom Clark's back on the field. I wonder if Hudson Prentice has gone to get his bowling boots on. Just wonder if that might be the reason why he's temporarily left the field. I think McAndrew could be in for something like an 8 over spell here, because this is the big part of the game. Comes in again and Hammond again, tries to find that gap. He has pierced the field between Clark and Haynes. They'll take a comfortable 2. Haynes almost wins the prize for the longest fielding slide of the day.
Yeah.
But Gloucestershire 16 for 3 at one stage. Dent, Harris and Bracey all out. Only Harris of those 2 actually made a run. And as Dan quite rightly pointed out, Hammond could easily have gone as well if Carter had snaffled a chance that went between him and Tom Alsop at first slip. Should have done, really.
Should have done. Yeah, yeah. Paul Farbrace won't like that.
McAndrew again, round the wicket, down the leg side. Hammond doesn't look really seriously for the single, and Carter goes quickly to it. Sussex will be back here later in the season in the T20. Quite a different team for that tournament, though.
Is Ravi still going? Ravi Bopara, is he still playing?
I think so.
Stephen Finn will play, won't he?
Yes, they've got Shadab Khan for the T20. But I don't think Rashid Khan this season, which will be a big call for them. I mean, he's been such a success.
He was #1 in the world, wasn't he?
Yeah, the Afghanistan spinner. And obviously, Luke Wright's now retired, so his runs won't be.
Yeah.
So
they had some good ones last year. They had Rizwan, didn't they? And Josh Felipe they had over last year.
Used a lot of players last year, Sussex.
Well, they had 6 overseas, apparently. Was it last year or the year before, I think?
McAndrew again around the wicket to Hammond. Hit on the pad. That looks like that's going down the leg side to me. Umpire thankfully agrees. Yes, Rizwan last year, 275 runs at 45 in the T20, which was a a good effort. As you say, Josh Felipe didn't really hit any straps when he made the 150. Bopara played in all the T20 matches last year. Only he, Steve Finn and Delray Rawlins played in all the games. Rashid Khan actually only played 6 games last year. He was only available for part of it. Felipe played in the game here, didn't he? He got some runs and then they rather fell away and not in a chase. Hammond, that might be 4 more, even though the outfield is slowing up. That's a chase for Clark, and he won't hold that in again towards the extra cover boundary. And when the ball has been there to play that very nice looking shot that we saw so much from Cheteshwar Pujara during his innings, Hammond's sort of illustrated that, hey, you know, I can play a fairly good cover drive as well.
Yeah, their side last year was... I'll just come on to it there. It was Rizwan, Wright, Felipe, Bopara, Garton, Rawlings, Harrison Ward, Will Beer, Archie Lenham, Crocombe and Stephen Finn.
McAndrew again to Hammond, not so extravagant this time, just to steer out on the offside. So Hammond to 21 in that over, Van Peeren to 10, and Gloucestershire 16 for 3 in the 6th. I've now got to 38 for 3 in the 9th over. I wonder whether Hunt might have one more. Hudson Prentice is back on the ground. So Tom Clark, who ran out Marcus Harris yesterday, that you might argue was the tipping point in the Gloucestershire innings. He trots off. I think Hudson Prentice may be after this over.
Hunt. Van Beeren just pushes him into the offside, and they come through for a single.
Interesting. Just sorry, Dan. On the weather today, you know, it's very difficult. There are a lot of apps on smartphones that reckon they can, you know, predict the patterns of the day. I think with bands of rain or small or short bands of rain, it's harder to predict. But most of the predictions this morning were we wouldn't be playing now. It seemed to be that the rain was coming, but it seems to have missed us.
Here's Hunt and low full toss. Hammond can only find Pujara at mid-on.
The rain at breakfast time was certainly predicted.
Yeah, I mean, according to certain apps, it's supposed to be raining now, but it's not, and it looks... I mean, you wouldn't want your holidays in this weather, would you? But it's not raining. Here's Hunt. Hammond lets that one go.
I wonder how long before we see a spinner, if indeed we do. Ball's still only 10 overs old, so I think Hudson Prentice likely to be first change.
Yep.
Well, to be fair, Crocombe too might keep the seam going for a while.
That's well bowled. It's a no ball, actually. So there'll be another one. Last time he did that, he got a wicket with the 7th delivery of the over. So let's see if Hunt can use this one to his advantage.
Just, he doesn't look a very demonstrative captain, does he, Cheteshwar Pujara?
No, he's quite a calm individual. But sometimes that's a good thing. Especially with a young, possibly excitable side. Hunt approaching the crease, and that's gone! Hammond has been caught behind. Hunt struck again. Gloucestershire 41 for 4. This is game on.
Well, Sussex have only got a maximum of 44 overs to get these wickets. But here is another look at Hammond being done by a good one. You know, Hunt bowled a very full length in the first innings without any joy, but by bowling a very full length under these skies and with the lights on, he's just found the right line and length at the moment, and that's his 3rd wicket. 2 catches for Carter and 1 LBW. And Sussex really will think now, as Ollie Price comes out, that they have a real chance in this game.
Gloucestershire are in big trouble. You know, Ollie Price, they winkle him out early. It could be, you know, half the side of them back in the hutch. And only 10 of those 44 overs have gone.
Yeah, still quite a bit to do. Jack Taylor will bat at 7.
Looking a little bit miserly over to our left, though.
Kennington Avenue side of the ground. Those pylons that we can see in the distance, sort of straight, fairly straight from our vantage point, are fairly clear. But it's further west that there might be some mizzle.
Yeah, it says coming in from Cardiff. It looks pretty grim over to our left.
Looks pretty grim on the scoreboard, if I may say.
Here's Hunt. Another no ball. And it's raining here by the look of it.
Yes, it's definitely filling in to the left. In fact, the umpires are going to bring the players off.
Yeah.
They've asked for the covers.
And Gloucestershire can't get off that pitch quickly enough. 43 for 4. Sussex have done everything asked from them here. If they'd have, you know, there's a lot of ifs and buts, but if they'd have taken that wicket quicker this morning, this game could be all over by now, couldn't it, Ian?
Well, it just proves the value of that last wicket stand, and indeed of the rain delay, bluntly.
Yeah.
If this was in the 10 overs that we might have had before lunch, and Gloucestershire would have gone to lunch at 43 for 4 and had to bat 2 sessions, Sussex would have been overwhelming favourites.
Yeah, Gloucestershire might have just got to get out of jail card here, because that pylon which we just spoke about is
barely visible.
Barely visible. The memorial ground to our left is not particularly visible, and I think we might be off for 20 minutes or half an hour here.
Well, that will frustrate Sussex immensely. They're just putting the covers over the actual match strip. You've had 9 overs and 4 balls, and of course there's no extra time to be added. They're losing overs from this point, so play has been suspended. Gloucestershire resuming their second innings 207 runs behind, and they are 41 for 4. 3 wickets to Sean Hunt, 1 to Nathan McAndrew, and it's a question now of waiting to see if this drizzle can clear. Gloucestershire will not be too concerned if it doesn't. Dan and I will be back with you as soon as there's any news of any resumption or indeed conclusion to this game. 20 past 4 at the moment, but rain, or drizzle to be accurate, has stopped play.
go, he might have just turned his bat on.
Guys, what are you doing? You can't practice there.
How am I meant to get the practice in for the golf day?
Go and practice at Kendallshire.
Come join the Gloucestershire players for the inaugural club golf day at the Kendallshire on Friday the 5th of May to raise money for the Gloucestershire Cricket Trust. It's going to be a fantastic day out for a very worthy cause.
See you on the 1st.
Welcome back. 43 for 4. We think there's 25 overs left in this game, but we're not quite sure yet, are we, Ian?
No, well, that calculation was based on a 5 o'clock start, and we've lost 10 minutes, and the board is now just being changed. So I think that ought to go to 22. Bob Smith's our scoreboard operator here at the Seat Unique Stadium. I hope his twos are all right, but that ought to be dropping from 25 to 22. They've put a pile of sawdust on a muddy area away to the right hand side towards the main scoreboard, and the umpires are still having a chat. What are they chatting about?
Where they're going for dinner tonight. That's what they're talking about, Ian.
Well, the overs have not yet been put up on the board unless the discussion is with the scorers over the number of overs. Hunt has got 2 balls left of this over, which he has to complete, and Gloucestershire 43 for 4. They've got to get through these remaining overs, and I don't think Sussex are going to let them off any. The only concept they might have to help them is maybe any more rain, but the sky is much clearer to our left. So Hunt with 2 balls to go of this over, and there are 22 overs and 2 balls to go.
Yeah. Here's Sean Hunt. Bowled superbly into Ollie Price, who lets that one go, and Carter goes sprawling away. Hunt 3 for 24 off 4.4. A couple of tweets come in. James Lawler enjoying the stream from here in Aylesbury, enjoying the commentary. Fresh from a Middlesex victory yesterday, and Murtagh's 1,000th wicket. I'm wondering how Tom Lace is getting on at Gloucestershire. Well, Tom's all right. We did a little bit of work with him. He's not in the side at the moment, but he's pretty chipper. Here's Hunt. And Price just nurdles that into the onside. That completes the over, so there's going to be 22 overs left. Mark from Madrid as well. They said, where are your knees? Just wondering. This is a few hours ago. They're bang in the middle of my legs, actually.
Yeah, I think that was one of your... I couldn't say analysis, but danalysis is the word.
Danalysis.
One of your danalysis moments.
And Mark from Madrid has also said the radar shows a short, sharp shower moving through. Well, it was a short, sharp shower.
I don't know what the supplies of sawdust are like at the Seat Unique Stadium, but they're going to be significantly depleted after this game.
Yeah, they'll be sending James Healy down the pet shop to get some more.
22 overs left. Here we are at 10 past 5 on the 4th day with the only match now in progress. The game at Leicester has been declared a draw. And Sussex need 6 wickets. And this stoppage again is probably likely to mean that McAndrew can keep going for a bit longer at that Ashley Down Road end. He's only had 5 overs, but he's had 40 minutes without bowling and without being in the field. So I reckon he might well do another, he may do as many as another 5 from here.
So you want 2 more wickets in the next 5 overs. And the cat is amongst the Gloucestershire pigeons.
McAndrew then with 4 slips as he has had for all the innings. That's down the leg side, not a good delivery, just a loosener really. Having been off the field since 18 minutes past 4. Gloucestershire started, or went to start, their second innings back before lunch. They batted for over an hour, the last wicket pair in the first innings. Miles Hammond and Ajit Singh Dale. Ultimately their stand was worth 61 before Singh Dale was finally out for 10. Here's McAndrew in Duffenbeer, he goes back a little jumpily and plays the ball out onto the onside to Crocombe. Hammond finished 87 not out. Good effort from him. He added 51 out of the 61, and Gloucestershire almost but not quite got to a first batting point of the season. So at the end of 4 games I think they are the only side in the second division without a batting point.
Yep.
So when they went to start the second innings 207 behind, it was very dark. Van Peeren almost yorked by McAndrew, just about got his bat down in time. So there was bad light, then drizzle, with quite a long delay, and then when play finally resumed, Sussex were left with 44 overs at that stage to try and bowl Gloucestershire out for less than 207, which would give them an innings win. And they have already 4 wickets, but they've had some overs removed from their allocation because of that last rain delay. Van Peeren waits for McAndrew and he defends up to mid-off. The runs, I say, are irrelevant. It's the wickets column and the overs column that matters. 16 for 3 very early on. 2 wickets in the first 2 overs, in fact. Harris was out in the 6th over and Hammond in the 10th. Kind of a mirror of what happened at Worcester in the first innings in a different sort of sense. McAndrew to Van Peeren, and he pushes at that. Half an appeal from the cordon, but nothing more than that. You can understand Sussex's keenness to be out there, Dan, can't you? I mean, if Gloucestershire were or had been 43 for no wicket, they might have been rather less enthusiastic, but having got 4 wickets very quickly, they're absolutely mustard out there. Yeah,
they're full of chirp. They're up for it.
Understandably. McAndrew from the Ashley Down Road end, and Van Peeren lets that go. That's a good leave. That was very tight. Left almost as much on length as anything else.
Mike Cook's been in touch. Thanks for your email, Mike. The building that can be seen during your stream, is that a hotel or an apartment condo building? There's apartments at the end of the ground, the flats. There's a number of flats. With regards to the season so far, while the results bonus points have not been what we'd like, I believe, being a glass half full guy, that they've shown enough with bat and ball to have a memorable season. The weather has been a stumble. Yeah. Hunt. And that's a lovely shot. Ollie Price. He's going to get 4 runs for that. Fantastic shot. Shot of the day, I think, actually.
Miles Hammond has played some good ones, or did play some good ones, out through the covers, but that's as authentic a shot as you could wish for. It's a big gap at mid-off, so...
Yeah, but it's not even a proper half volley, that. He's a tall guy and turned it into a half volley. Keep your emails coming to us. We'll stick the email address up there and we'll read out the good ones. In fact, we'll read them all out. And
provided there's no swearing.
There's me, Dan White.
I don't think we've ever had anybody actually do that to us on an email. So
I think we might have done yesterday. Yeah. Hunt in, Price drives firmly.
And just to answer Mike's question, the buildings you see at the far end of the ground, in the wider shot, there they are 3 blocks of apartments. Grace, Hammond, and
Graveney,
correct. Thank you. Built, I think, 2013-14.
Hunt in to Price, gets up on his toes in defence. Was that named after Tom or David, Ian?
Tom.
I think so.
Tom. I think David might argue that there's a nod towards him, but it's after. And similarly, the Hammond is not after Miles.
Ah.
Not yet. He might need to be around for quite a bit longer. Hunt's coming round the wicket.
Yeah, he's going to go around the wicket, change the angle to Ollie Price. Here he comes, and that's a pleasant shot as well. Well stopped by Haynes, diving away at mid-off. He's come out positive. Ollie Price, full of intent. good to see.
It's been a very fragmented match, this, hasn't it, in terms of the weather?
Yeah. Staccato.
Good word.
Hunt to Price, that's going down.
I think
Sussex will shout for everything.
I think he knew.
Why
So,
not?
first day, only 16 overs possible. Second day, didn't start until 10 to 2.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a full day,
Yeah.
thankfully. And today, we've had 3 spells of play,
Yeah, here's Hunt.
2 breaks.
And Price drives there. He's aiming that through the offside, but goes through the onside. And a good thing from Gloucestershire point of view, because I think if we had the full 4 days, I think the Sussex boys might be back on Brighton Pier having haddock and chips by now.
Yes, the total of overs lost would be, well over 1 day. So we'd be looking at this towards the end of day 3.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good leave. That's not far. That's angling back in. That completes the over. Another one ticked off. 20 left in the day.
49 for 4.
But I mean, I think Sussex will go for this until there's 1 over left. Until it's physically impossible to win.
So just doing another light meter reading at the Ashley Down Road end. It's okay at the moment. And McAndrew to continue this quite lively spell. He's only got 1 wicket, but he's been causing some worrying moments. Van Buren pushing again. He has been, I mean, you used the word yesterday, and it was right yesterday. He's been a workhorse in the sense he's been the stock bowler and the strike bowler, but he is really putting his back into this, isn't he? Conscious that it's a short burst, it's limited overs to get these wickets.
Yeah, he's fired up. Looks a really good bowler. Been really impressed with Nathan McAndrew.
Giving it everything. And Van Buren again pushing. Maybe that was quite tentative, really. It's a bit of a prod.
Look at the fans still here. Loyal fans, the lifeblood of the county game.
There's a gentleman downstairs with an old-fashioned scorebook as well.
Yeah. But you know, these guys,
One of the regulars.
loyal support, and Gloucestershire aren't going to win.
McAndrew. Van Buren lets that go. He's had a couple of tight leaves. There was one in the last over, but he's judging where his off stump is pretty well at the moment. With no game in the championship now until the 11th, I wonder what the debrief will be out of this game. Gloucestershire will be happy to take another draw. Van Buren steers that past the gully field. It's going to go down towards the boundary at third man, and it will run all the way. So 4 more off a thickish edge. Playing it into the ground, there's never a chance.
No.
Cole's lost his hat while he was chasing down towards the fence. He has one of those towels in his back pocket. Carson does as well. And with the floodlights on, Van Buren waits again for McAndrew. He's got 15 at the moment. Ollie Price just with that 1 straight boundary. And Van Buren again.
Ooh, that's a tight leave.
Well outside the off stump. Well judged. mean, the bonus points over on the board on the right-hand side, Dan, say Sussex 8, Gloucestershire 1, and that perhaps doesn't indicate the true balance of the game. It's not been quite as one-sided as that, but Sussex have been much the better team, haven't they, overall?
Yeah, completely.
Again,
completely.
Van Buren, a tad of a jump on that defensive shot out to Henry Crocombe at mid-wicket. End of McAndrew's over. He's bowled 7 in the 2 phases of play we've had. He's taken 1 for 23.
Yeah, you look on paper, 455 for 5, plays 248 and 53 for 4. There's a reason why the bonus point structure is where it is, and Sussex have, they've made all the running in this game, and I've been very, very impressed with them. I thought that this was a game that Gloucestershire would win. I thought no Ollie Robinson in the attack. I thought Sussex would be a little bit callow. Sean Hunt coming from around the wicket, and Price clips that into the onside. Crocombe doing the fielding, but fair play to Sussex. They've been very well led by Cheteshwar Pujara. You can see Paul Farbrace has made a difference coming in as coach. There's an edge to them. They've got a bit of chirp, and they're up for this, and big credit to them. Hunt around the wicket. Price, lovely through mid-wicket. That could well go all the way. Pujara's in pursuit. It's not quite going to get to the boundary. They might even run for... No, they settle for 3. Yeah, so...
Pujara sprinted as fast as he could, but I don't think that his pace would match that of someone like a Crocombe or a Haynes in the field. And they might have thought about one on the arm, but...
I'd fancy you to give him a good run for his money there, Ian.
Yeah, I think he's faster than I am. They could have run probably 5 if I'd have been chasing him.
Hunter Van Buren. That's just down the leg side. Van Buren clips that one off his legs. They'll just settle for 1. Van Buren moves on to 15, 16. Price on to 7. Yeah, so, Sussex, big credit to them. And Gloucestershire probably need to go away and lick their wounds. They've had a couple of games where they've been on top, but the fragility of their batting, they haven't got a batting bonus point yet, and that must be a real worry. That's 3 games in, with a 4th that's been washed out against Yorkshire. And I think that they might possibly have a look. That's defended back. No ball from Hunt. 2 more to the total. It's pretty irrelevant.
It's that balance of the side, isn't it? And Van Buren got an unbeaten century at Glamorgan when St Gloucestershire pulled the game round in the 3rd innings. He was unbeaten in the 2nd innings at Worcester as well when the declaration came.
Yeah, I mean, that's just defended.
He could do with another red inker here.
I mean, do you change things around, or do you say to the blokes, listen, you've got us into this mess, you get us out of it? It's a conundrum, isn't it?
It just feels to me as if the side is a bowler short. In the same way, in a T20, you wouldn't necessarily only play 5 bowlers.
Hunt to Price, defence.
If you pick 5 and one gets effectively hit out of the attack, what do you do? You've got a problem. So here, I'm not saying a bowler would get hit out of the attack, but if they don't look penetrative, you've got to be able to turn somewhere else. And Sussex used 7 bowlers yesterday.
They did. Gloucestershire going in with 3 spinners in April. That's been mooted. It's been an unusual decision, perhaps. That's left alone by Price. That's another over ticked off. That's down to 18 now. I don't know. I mean, it's Dale Benkenstein's decision, and I trust Dale. He's got wonderful credentials. He's won 3 county championships, and I think you have to trust what he does.
It's that lower middle order balance, isn't it? That you look at when you don't have an all-rounder in there. An out-and-out all-rounder.
Yeah. But also, you know, cricket is Gloucestershire's 2 best bowlers this season. I'll come on to it after this ball.
McAndrew, again to Van Buren, who shoulders arms once more. He's judging well where that off stump is at the moment.
Gloucestershire's 2 best bowlers this season have been Tom Price and Zafar Gahar, who both gone for over 100. They bowled just over 50 overs between them and went for 2 wickets for 235 runs. Now, you know, it's one of those games because it just depends on who turns up and who's in form at the time, because, you know, there's no way you'd drop Tom Price or Zafar Gahar, is there?
But they might need a hand in some games.
Yeah.
Van Buren, behind that from McAndrew. That's what I mean. If one of them, so Zafar bowled economically, but without really looking as if he was going to rip through that Sussex order.
And still went for over 4 and over. He got collared at the end though, didn't he? He was bowling.
He did. I think he had 1 for 67 at the end of the
first day.
End of the second day.
Yeah,
end of the second day.
Sorry, second day. Yeah.
So okay, you take him out of the attack and you turn to another option. Van Buren again.
That's well bowled.
Yeah, McAndrew here is in a good rhythm. And he's probably a bit. I'm not being dismissive of this, but he's probably happier bowling at the right-handers. I don't know how fast you'd say he was. He's certainly a lively pace, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not quick, but he's full of hustle and bustle, isn't he?
Still with 4 slips. And Van Buren doesn't time that, and it goes up to Pujara at mid-on. 59 for 4, as you can see. There are the core details at the bottom of your screen, and we are approaching the last hour of the match. Matthew Gregg's been in touch on email. Would appreciate if you could mention it. My father, Stephen Gregg, a lifetime Gloucestershire member, sadly passed away in December. Matthew, thoughts with you on that? Van Buren punches that away past point. It might go all the way for 4. Finn Hudson-Prentice is trying to haul it in and he can't do it. It would go all the way out towards the scoreboard, and the score advances to 63 for 4. Any members who may have known of him watching the stream can be told about that. So Stephen Gregg, if you knew Stephen, a lifetime Gloucestershire member, and I know there are something like 600 life members of the club, so sad to say that he unfortunately passed away during last winter. We arrived on the first day of the Gloucestershire-Yorkshire match, but unfortunately saw no cricket. We did, though, have a few beers before we left. Seeing as you're watching from Dublin, if you made that journey and had a wet day, fair play to you. McAndrew in, and again, Van Buren tries to get that past Finn Hudson-Prentice. He can't do it. But if you do come back, Stephen, at some point later in the year, I hope the weather is kinder, and thoughts with you following the passing of Dad. And also from Tom on Rain Stop Play Inspection of 3 on social media, he says, just back from a lovely Japanese afternoon tea in Clifton where it was wet. Marvellous, by the way, it was. Worried to see that players recommenced. Hope we can hang on. And watching on the stream with wicket-keeping gloves that Ollie Carter is wearing seem enormous. Would be useful for scooping up the food at a party buffet. And that...
Oh, look at that buffet.
...is his Japanese afternoon tea, by the looks of it.
Oh, Tom. I'm really disappointed, mate. You didn't bring us any here at the ground.
Looks very tasty, that.
Yeah.
We're going to see Tom Haynes.
Yeah.
From the pavilion end.
Here he comes, Carter up to the stumps. Defended by Ollie Price.
And Jan Locke on email says, like to hear players support each other, but the Sussex keeper's gloves drove us nuts yesterday when we were at the ground. He didn't come today as we expected very much less play than there has been. Have appreciated the good cricket, whichever side is playing. Ollie Carter is an enthusiastic clapper with the gloves.
Yeah, he is. There's one more to Ollie Price. Just turn around the corner. Yeah, he's keeping gloves have driven a number of the Gloucestershire fans mad, calling them symbols. His haircut's not much better. I think we've still got a picture of his haircut somewhere, and it's a shocker. It really is. Haynes in. Van Buren defends. It's probably, in fact, I would stick my head above the parapet and say it is the worst haircut I have seen on any cricketer ever. Let's see if we can find it for you.
This is the picture, well, not the picture off the Head and Shoulders shot on the Sussex website, which is not too bad.
Haynes in, and Van Buren drives pleasantly. Alior in tight there at short extra.
Haynes is bowling little leg cutters here, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just bowling little wobblers.
Running his fingers over the top of the seam.
Lovely shot from Van Buren. He's going to get full value for that one. Really textbook cover drive there. Held the pose as well. Graham Van Buren, beautiful.
He's up to 24. It's not quite the same situation as last week where Gloucestershire were.
Here's Ollie Carter and that haircut we were discussing. Oh, dearie, dearie me.
You may have done that for a bet.
You'd hope so. It's the dyed bit at the back as well.
Haynes has thrown that towel back to Sean Hunt. They're using to dry the ball.
Haynes to Van Buren. Defended. 16 overs now. 68 for 4. Ollie Price is on 8. Graham Van Buren is on 24.
Yes, no alarms for these two since the resumption. Gloucestershire will be very pleased about that. So they've got through 6 overs and 2 balls, haven't they? Since we've come back on at 10 minutes past 5. So I probably feel that they need one of these two pretty quickly now. Otherwise the overs clock will not be their friend. Further drawdown on the sawdust supplies at the Ashley Down Road end. McAndrew 8 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 27. Hunt 7 overs, no maidens, 3 for 36. More expensive, but runs don't matter in this situation. It's the wickets column that's important. And here's McAndrew. That's a lovely delivery.
Lovely shape, hasn't he? Got really good shape, Nathan McAndrew.
Drawing Ollie Price towards it. Here's a view of the, or second view of the same delivery. Just a bit of bounce there too. Price has been already adjudged caught behind once in this match.
That was similar as well. That went after it hit past the bat, didn't it? We've seen another bit of that in this game.
McAndrew past umpire Taylor, and he's let that go on length as much as anything else. Just thinking that Gloucestershire go to Derby next. I haven't been to the ground at Derby, I don't think, since
1923.
Yeah, it's got. It might be as much as 30 years since I've been there.
So I believe it's changed quite a bit in recent years. There's a hotel there now, isn't there?
Yeah, it's one of those. I think I've only been there once actually. Just one of those quirks. It's gone a long way from McAndrew, but leaving the batter volley price, so he gets well out of the way. Yes, we did the commentary the day I was there in what would what felt like the equivalent of a signal box, which must have been the old radio and press box.
There used to be a jockey's dressing room there, I think, or something like that, because it was the racecourse, wasn't it?
It was, but they have done a lot to improve it.
Yeah,
particularly recently. McAndrew, Tony Price, who drives straight back to the bowler.
It's much maligned, isn't it? If you ask the professionals, it's probably not their favourite venue on the circuit. But I think it has improved a hell of a lot. It used to be very open.
Well, they play
bit cold, bit
quite
windy.
a lot of top flight women's cricket there now, don't they? It's one of the sort of their go-to venues. So that tends to draw funds from certain pots, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes.
You know what I mean by that?
I am fully aware.
McAndrew to Price again in the V up to mid-off, and these two have just steadied a ship that was lilting quite badly at 41 for 4. Jack Taylor
16 for 3. It was taking on water, wasn't it?
Very much. I can hear a player's spikes on the ground downstairs. That's what it sounded like. McAndrew again to Price, who gets well in line.
I think it might be the creaking of the stool that I'm sitting on, Ian.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
It sounded like sort of spikes on tarmac. Maybe not. End of McAndrew's over. How long can he keep going for? That's 9 he's bowled, albeit 5 before the break, and now 5 more. More sawdust is coming out.
Yeah.
And 17 overs have been bowled. 15 to go.
He's been a bit stingy with the sawdust there, Sean, isn't he? I don't know if he's got a pet hamster at home, perhaps, that he wants a bit for. But
depends how much what the supplies are like in this part of the world. They've used quite a bit. They're going to put a pile now at the far end as well, where it's been extensively used. And Haynes with the keeper standing up.
Here he comes, past. Oh, that's turned. Van Buren round. Coming past umpire Mark Newell. Good career at Sussex. Billy Taylor. Good career at Sussex as well, and Hampshire. Phil Whittaker, our match referee. Ex-Leicestershire. Just defended.
He'd be an awkward player to play in club cricket, wouldn't he? Tom Haynes as a bowler.
Yeah.
That's sort of, you know, many clubs have got a bowler of his type.
A dibbly dobbly who you'd get really bored with and end up chipping to mid-off. Here he comes in. I've seen it so many times in club cricket where people net indoors on fast plastic coated surfaces and play the quicks, going through the line of the ball, playing lovely cover drives. They come out in April, ball suddenly stops on them, and those beautiful cover drives get chipped up to sort of extra cover mid-off area. People at home know what I mean. Here's Haynes and Buren. Just
little
nudges it into the onside.
Yeah, variations of pace. maybe scrambling the seam as well. It's kind of Darren Stevens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Am I being unkind to Darren Stevens there? In terms of
Yeah, I think Stevens a better bowler than that. Here he comes.
But basically putting it on a sixpence all the time, making you play all the time.
Yeah. I'd like to see maybe a silly mid-off in there. If anyone's brave enough to do it, because Graham Van Buren's a decent cover driver, fearsome cover driver, but just put someone there under his nose and make him think about things. There, stop him from getting right forward like that.
There is a little bit of wobble though for
There is wobble.
Haynes. Just 2 overs he's bowled, but McAndrew wants to get on with things, and I think Sussex are ahead on the over. I think that is +2, not -2, and as we know they got docked points in the last round of games for bowling their overs too slowly. So here once again McAndrew is making sure that those footmarks on his run are well stocked with sawdust. You can see him putting that down on our wide-angle camera at the pavilion end. As things stand, Gloucestershire will get 6 points from this match and Sussex will get 13. If Gloucestershire can see out the remaining time, 14 overs to go. McAndrew, and again to Price, and he must feel after that early success that he's not had things going his way in this spell. He's probably deserved another wicket actually, the way he's bowled.
Yeah, in other sports, Liverpool were leading Tottenham just 3-1 after Tottenham last week capitulated to Newcastle. The club decided to refund the fans who've made a journey back there. Rumours that they're setting up a direct debit to refund fans are unfounded.
McAndrew to Price, with his front foot right across.
With apologies there to Jack Taylor, who's a Tottenham fan here at Gloucestershire. Sorry, Jack. Sorry, mate.
Did I hear Harry, that's of the Redknapp family, say that he thought the other Harry, Kane, would be too settled at Tottenham and wouldn't be going anywhere, in his opinion. In terms of family being settled in the south, who knows? McAndrew into Ollie Price, clips that off, more than off his hip. He's really timed that. That's gone away to deep square for 4. There is nobody there. And so Sean Hunt has one of those chores of a club cricketer to go and get the ball from the vacant area on the boundary.
Quality shot.
Inside the line, timed it well.
Well, I mean, Harry Redknapp, I don't trust much Harry Redknapp's ever said in the transfer market, do you? Because, you know, everyone's a terrific little player.
That was his line, was it? Everybody?
Transfer deadline day, he'd come in, window down, no, we're not interested in him.
2 hours later.
2 hours later, signing him, quoting, always been a fan, terrific little player.
The line I always hear is, we've been tracking him for some time. What does that mean? McAndrew, who Paul Farbrace signed at Warwickshire and he signed here at Sussex, has given him excellent value in this game.
And Nathan McAndrew is a terrific little player. He's been excellent in this game.
He has done well. Hudson Prentice getting limbered up. This might be McAndrew's last over. He's bowled 10 with a 50-minute break for rain.
I think they'll give him a few more.
Down the leg side, and Carter can't take it in. That'll be 4 buys.
Maybe he
Perhaps
needs bigger gloves.
Yes, even Carter's big gloves couldn't claw that in. That's the first stray one for a while from Nathan McAndrew. Maybe a little bit of fatigue is creeping in.
Yeah, he strayed on Surprise's leg stump and he put him through square leg for 4. And then that one's down the leg side and Carter couldn't quite get there.
Yeah, Sussex have kept themselves in the game. There's Carter clapping, as usual. His hands must be sore from the clapping at the end of the day. Let alone taking 500 balls potentially. McAndrew to Ollie Price again. He's quite an aesthetic.
It's a theatrical clap as well,
Yeah,
isn't it? Look at it.
He's aesthetically pleasing when he gets the ball in the middle of the bat. And he's only got a dozen here, but there have been a couple of really nice shots in there. Van Buren has 24. It's 76 for 4. 13 overs to go. And we are going to see Finn Hudson-Prentice at this pavilion end once he's tied his ponytail back.
Yeah, nice guy. I was having a chat with Finn earlier on.
Not too many cricketers with ponytails, I don't think, at the moment.
No. Well, I'm trying to think of
He
some.
would be in a comparatively select group.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of cricketers with ponytails. Chris Dent had a top knot. Is that a ponytail?
I mean, arguably, I suppose Hudson-Prentice is kind of he's tied it right behind his head rather than on the top. So I think, yes, that's not quite a top knot. It's not far off though.
No.
To me, that's a ponytail.
Here he is, bowling to the Gloucestershire skipper. Just hurries him up a little bit there. Makes him hop about. But Dent and Hudson-Prentice, well, Dent's had his hair cut now, but as he was, both look like the type of gentleman that you'd see on scooters weaving in and out of the traffic on the Gloucester Road.
Because you think they're very eco-friendly, do you?
Well, like Elliot Lake, he's a scooter man. Paul Van Makeren came to the ground on a scooter the other day. That's driven and stopped by Tom Haynes. Miles Hammond, I believe, is a scooter fan. Bristol has got like a Boris bike scheme in London where you can hire scooters from Bristol City Council. I want to see Ian Randall going up the M5 in one to his abode in Gloucester.
It's quite a long way, that.
Hudson-Prentice and Van Buren tickled that fine, and he's going to get 4 more onto his total. Moves on to 28 now.
Gloucestershire in safe waters yet?
No. No, emphatic no. I'd say
Sussex need a burst, though, don't they, from somebody?
Yeah, they do.
They probably need 2 quite quickly to give them any kind of genuine chance here.
But the thing is, one of these 2 gets out and the door suddenly opens. And it's been that sort of game, hasn't it, where batsmen are well set. You know, they make hay, but in the Gloucestershire innings, once a door is sort of pushed slightly ajar by a wicket, you know...
We spoke before about wickets falling in clusters.
Yeah.
We had a cluster at the top.
Yeah.
4 very quickly.
Cheteshwar Pujara will be hoping that there's another cluster on the way. Hudson-Prentice down the leg side. That's a good take from those big gloves of Ollie Carter.
Just say that Gloucestershire, assuming this match does end in a draw, will be in 6th. They'll be 6th anyway. They'll be in 6th place in the 2nd division after this round of games. I'll give you the table maybe at the end of this Hudson-Prentice over. Durham are the only side who've won 2 so far. They're top with 64. Give me the rest of the table at the end of the over.
Hudson Prentice to Van Buren, who plays that out to Pajara at mid-on.
Not everybody's played the same number of games, so it's not quite representative yet. And bear in mind that Gloucestershire don't play next week, so things will change again before they go to Derby. Hudson Prentice is walking quite slowly back. So Durham 64 from 4, Leicestershire 45 from 3, Sussex.
Hudson
Third.
Prentice in, and Van Buren clips that one. He gets it the other side of long leg this time. He's only going to get, oh no, he came back for a second, as it's a long boundary down there.
So Sussex, if they add the points for the draw, would have 41 from 3. So Durham 64 from 4, Leicestershire 45 from 3, Sussex would be 41 from 3, Worcestershire 35 from 3, Glamorgan 31 from 3, Gloucestershire would be 27 from 4, Yorkshire 21 from 3, Derbyshire 17 from 3. So Gloucestershire have actually played, in inverted commas, or would have played, both sides beneath them in the opening 5 rounds when they go to Derby. I say played, obviously, because the Yorkshire match didn't actually see any play at all.
Further email about Stephen Gregg, who sadly passed away. There's a memorial cricket game for him on Sunday the 28th of May. 1:30 start at Upton St Leonard's Cricket Club in Gloucestershire. And Stephen founded the Gloucester Junior Cricket League in the youth section at Upton. So, you know, great venue to have it. It's the Steve Gregg Memorial Game fundraising event for Upton St Leonard's, May 28th, 1:30 at Upton Rec. Steve's Setting Sons 11 versus Upton St Leonard's Cricket Club 11, featuring old boys from Steve's youth coaching days plus friends and family. There's a barbecue, there's a bar, there's music, there's raffle, and everyone's welcome. And I think it'd be a great event.
And it's on a bank holiday weekend as well, so
yeah,
hopefully the weather shines. Crocombe into the attack, bowling to Ollie Price, who defends. So the figures for McAndrew at the end of that long stint: 10 overs, 4 maidens, 1 for 31. That doesn't tell you how well he bowled. Sometimes you just don't get the rub of the green.
Like in life, cricket mirrors life, Ian.
Question from Adam Thomas too in a moment. Price half forward, but that one over the ball. He says, if the ball hit that big pile of sawdust behind Carter, would it be 5 runs?
The answer is no.
And is there a because, Dan, for that? We'll come back for that in a moment.
Just no.
Just no.
Just no. Just no.
Price lets that go outside the off stump.
No, I mean, it's Law 28, the fielder. When the ball is striking a fielder's helmet, or I mean, it's got to be a helmet, or a fielder fields the ball illegally using a cap or other item of clothing, but it's guarding a piece of clothing. And you'll see, I'll come on to it after this.
Crocombe to Ollie Price again, full, pretty straight, but Ollie Price defends up to Pajara at mid-on, no run.
Yeah, you'll see this come up in the laws quite a bit, and the word willfully appears in the laws quite a bit. So if the fielding side is willfully put something down, or if a fielder throws his hat at a passing ball willfully, then it's 5 penalty runs.
Ooh, that's to Price, almost getting through.
That's kept low. That's kept low.
He does stand quite tall at the wicket too, Ollie Price. But this is a different side of his batting that he's got to learn to do. Not always an attacking situation for a middle order batsman. Crocombe to him again. Again, judges to leave that at the end of Crocombe's first over. That will tick down by one more on the board. 32 with 12 lost to the rain break available to Sussex. They've used 21. They have 11 left. They still need 6 wickets.
So, if a fielder puts his helmet behind the ground and it strikes that, that's 5 runs. And also, if a fielder, say a wicket-keeper, discards a glove, it happened to MS Dhoni a few years ago in the ICC Champions Trophy semi-final at Edgbaston back in 2017. And Bangladesh were awarded 5 penalty runs after the ball has bounced off a strewn glove on the field because he's willfully a strewn left glove.
Oh, a strewn.
Strewn.
Sorry.
S-T-R-E-W-N.
Yes.
In a run-out attempt. So if a fielder willfully discards a piece of his equipment and the ball strikes it, 5 runs. That's straight back down the ground by Van Buren. I think Phil Hudson-Prentice thought about the return catch. It wasn't a million miles away from his right hand there. But Van Buren. Ooh.
There are already 2 thoughts there. One, the return catch, and one, the deflection onto the stumps.
Yeah.
He didn't manage either.
Thinking there from an umpire's point of view, I was like, I could see Mark Newell there doing the lambada, trying to get out of the way. Gave a more than passable impression of Michael Flatley in Riverdance there, didn't he? 86 for 4 now. Ollie Price 12. Graham Van Buren 34. 10 and a bit overs left in the day. Hudson-Prentice in, and Van Buren defends that into the offside.
These two have added 45 to really thwart Sussex.
Yeah, you can see that the wind has started to come out of their sails a little bit, can't you, Sussex? They're not as chirpy as they were 15 minutes ago. And they can see they're slipping away a little bit.
Put another way, the 4th wicket fell in the 10th over, so they've, if you pardon the pun on a wet day, they've soaked up another 11 overs between them.
Oh, smooth broadcasting there, Ian. Love it. Love it, mate. Hudson-Prentice in. Van Buren cuts. He's going to get 4 more to his total there. That should just about creep over the rope, which it does.
Van Buren might fancy an unbeaten 50 here. Got 38 at the moment. If he continues to have the bulk of the strike, he might get there before he and Pujara decide enough is enough. Gloucestershire have had to work really hard even to get a draw out of this, haven't they?
Oh, yeah, they have. Sussex have been excellent. They really have. Pujara, fantastic. McAndrew, fantastic. But and then their youngsters have been really good as well. Coles has been good. Carter's been good. Hudson-Prentice has been good.
It is sapping, though, isn't it? And they'll appreciate the week's break, having really had to dig in to get this draw.
Hudson-Prentice and Van Buren equal to
they'd have
it.
come off the. So if you look at the 4 games in the block, the game at Glamorgan, we have discussed it on the stream during this match. It almost felt like a pre-season game because Gloucestershire had so little pre-season, particularly that first day and a half, where Van der Hoogten had the spell of LBWs on the first day. They turned that game round to a point where they could set a declaration total, but there was no point in giving the game away.
Pulled vigorously by Van Buren. That's going to go to the boundary. 4 runs.
Van Buren to 42. So the Glamorgan game, kind of good recovery. Yorkshire, washed out. No issue with that. At Worcester, terrible first hour and a half. Tom Price's 100 and the hat-trick made it a memorable day, and then again further disruption weather-wise, but they were effectively, as Sussex have been in this game, on top on the last day. victory chances spoiled again by the weather, and in a sense that medicine's come back to them from Sussex in this match.
Yeah, I'm going to come on to it after this ball from Hudson Prentice. That's driven down the ground, and that sort of short mid-on defence. Gloucestershire are not a bad side. I think they're definitely a good side. But if you're always chasing a game, if you make poor starts in games, as they've done here, as they've done at Worcestershire, as they've done at Glamorgan, the chances are you're not going to win. Or even if you draw, you don't pick up bonus points. And that is why Gloucestershire are sitting where they are in the league.
Okay, so I'll give you two, you might say they're soundbite phrases, but I think they're both kind of right. And they're involving other sports of 11 people. And one was...
Game of two halves?
You don't know. 8 can carry 3,
yeah.
but 3 cannot carry 8.
Yeah.
So, in other words, you need 8 people in the team to be contributing to get a decent performance. And I think maybe Gloucestershire haven't had 8 yet in a game. Price defends against Crocombe. And the other one is that maybe Gloucestershire are a side where they, and it's kind of, it goes back to that 8 and 3 scenario, where they have to be at full tilt as a team to be really competitive. And if they're not at full tilt, then it becomes very difficult.
Possibly. Possibly.
Crocombe from the Ashley Down Road end to Price, who goes back and defends 9 overs after this.
Ollie Price batted at 3 last year with sort of quite a bit of success, and he's gone down to 6 this year. And you know, he hasn't really sort of scored many runs so far, has he?
Averaged 26. He scored 5 50s last year.
Yeah.
Averaged 26 in 8 games.
Yeah, he's a good player. I mean, look at him here. He's showing some heart as well. He's showing some mental fortitude here. He's coming in a very, very difficult situation. And him and his skipper have shown a bit of courage to...
Yeah, Price 12 off 38 balls. Van Buren 42 off 54.
Yeah.
Price of 39, I should say. That's just ticked round.
They have shown some courage to sort of meander Gloucestershire towards a draw.
Price is part of the day now. And Price doesn't quite time that up to mid-off. Pajara's off the field temporarily. Tom Clark is out as a sub-fielder. If there was perhaps an indication that Sussex think it's not going to happen, we might see an over from somebody unexpected. That might be the hint. I'm trying to think who might bowl an over.
Pajara.
Maybe himself. Price again off his pads. Sean Hunt's got the chase round the boundary. Good stop. They've taken 2. They won't take one on the arm.
See, look at that commitment, right? The game is probably petering out towards a draw, and Sean Hunt still throwing himself round that boundary to save 2 runs. Really good cricket there.
96 for 4. And as you can see, 9 overs left after this. I think we're kind of at the captain's discretion here now, because we are...
I don't think they'll go just yet.
5 past 6.
I don't think they'll go just yet.
Pajara's waiting on the boundary to come back on. Crocombe to Price, who defends once more.
We'd like to thank everyone also.
That's the end of the over.
We'd like to thank everyone for their interactions over the last 4 days. You guys from Sussex have been absolutely superb with your Sussex Smokies and your Sussex Pond Puddings and your outgrounds down there in Sussex as well. So we've had a really good time with you guys.
We should also say thanks to James Healy and to Jack Longstaff and Elliot Lake, who put the production of this little unit together. And also, and I'm conscious we didn't say this last night, the ground staff have had a really difficult week. So I think Paul Collett has led the team this week, so well done to them for their tireless efforts.
Here's Hudson Prentice to Van Buren. Down the leg side. Has he got a little feather on that? No, it's buys. It goes against Mr. Carter.
Applause for the 100.
And that's 100 up, 100 for 4.
That didn't look likely.
No, it certainly didn't.
About an hour's play ago.
No, it certainly didn't. But we've had a really good time. Thanks to the Gloucestershire fans as well for, your interaction.
And to our friends abroad too. We've
had
emails from Portugal and the States. And
Auckland and New Zealand.
Yep.
James Fuller's dad this morning. No doubt be asleep by now. Where else? All sorts.
Our friend Just from Slovenia.
Slovenia. Yeah, we've had... We're a intercontinental stream. As that's a gorgeous shot. Haynes isn't going to cut that off. Van Buren imperiously drives the ball for 4.
One more boundary. We'll
That puts him on to 46.
To another 50. He's had 10 fours in that 46,
Yeah.
So he's...
Well, you're going to with the field up like that, though,
Yeah.
aren't you? Yeah,
He's picked the delivery to score from, and he's got very full value for his shots when he has chosen to go at it pretty hard. More drawing of the ball from Tom Haynes. Is there a slip coming out? Yes, there is. So they're going to go down to 3 and put Ali Orr into the offside. Might be a little bit late for that, I think.
Hudson Prentice to Van Buren. Oh, that's a good leave. That's a little bit of varnish from the outside of off stump there.
Hudson Prentice, look, he's got his hands over his face there, ruefully. How close was this?
Very. Look at this. Carter's taken that outside leg stump. Carter thumps his hands together.
He's going to get through more than one pair of gloves in a season, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is this almost it for Sussex? 8 overs after this. Gloucestershire look like they're going to see out the draw and pick up 5 points to the 1 bonus point they secured with the ball. 248 in the end. They were dismissed for earlier today. Miles Hammond 87 not out.
Hudson Prentice in, and Van Buren, thick edge, through down to 3rd, and that's his 50 off 59 balls. 11 fours in that, and after a first ball duck in the first innings, Graham Van Buren bounces back with a half century.
And he could be on for a 3rd not out in successive second innings this season. I see that unbeaten century at Glamorgan. He got I think it was 34 not out in the second innings at Worcester, and he could be on for another not out here. Certainly the lower order will be happy that he and Ollie Price have done the job after the top order used the word advisedly blown away by Sussex. 16 for 3 and 41 for 4. Sussex are going to keep going a bit longer though.
John and Sally Gordon in touch. Has watched the excellent last wicket stand this morning when they went off at lunchtime. I assume that was it for the day. Didn't bother checking as it was chucking it down at home. Returned from walking Benny, and panic to see score and players walking out to play. Come on, boys. Loyal fans, aren't they?
Yeah, John's an enthusiastic supporter.
As is Benny, the dog, the Labrador. For those who don't
He's
know.
got his official junior membership card.
Well, he's 11, so he qualifies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder, because they were offering a free T20 shirt from last season, whether Benny's picked that up as well.
Van Buren at the non-strikers end. Only priced on 14 facing Crocombe. But I think he's got in the zone now that all he needs to do is defend. Technically, Sussex could take 6 wickets in an over, but how likely will they feel it is? How much further will they go?
An email from Jerry Wolstenholme, which I'll let you read it out, Ian.
Crocombe, a bit short this time, and Price again defends back up the pitch. Jerry Wolstenholme lives in the northwest, quite a regular contributor to our streams last season. Interesting to hear you say, he says you discussed the penalty runs rule. He once saw Paul Danson of Blackpool add 10 runs to the total after one incident. I'll come back to what he did in a moment. Here's Crocombe. To Price, that's gone through third slip. It's going to go down towards the boundary at third man for 4. Carson is getting very slowly to his feet. I think that's a chance. Let's have a look. Can you see if it carries?
Yeah, I think it is a chance.
Oh, no, it's just short.
Just short.
It's just short.
Just short.
So
soft hands, Ollie Price.
He's excused. So to Jerry's story, he drove the ball through mid-off and ran 3. The throw came in and the wicket-keeper missed it. He gave chase to the boundary, discarding his glove. Throwing the ball in after 2 more runs had been garnered, so they've run 5. The fielder at the wicket end picked his glove up to take the return, thus, of course, conceding it for illegal use. It helped a great deal in the run chase. Keep up the good work, kind regards. Jerry, thank you for that.
Yeah, it's
Crocombe to Ollie Price, now on 18.
Firstly, Jerry, where's the backing up? If the wicket-keeper's missed it and then he's got to go and fetch it himself, where is the backing up?
We always emphasised by captain or coach or PE teacher about backing up, walking in when the bowler's going to deliver the ball as well.
Basics.
Crocombe again to Ollie Price. That's pleasantly driven up to wide mid-off. Haynes is there. No run.
But thank you, guys. Thank you for all your emails, all your interactions, because it makes us smile, it makes us laugh, it makes us just feel better about the world.
Just discussing whether a Scotch egg should be in a picnic or not, for example.
Yeah. These are important matters, Ian. You know, these are things that could be life-changing experiences.
We had a salad for lunch today. That was, I think that's the first of the season, actually.
Yeah.
Hudson Prentice is going to keep going. So no spin being used here by Cheteshwar Pujara.
Very nice it was, wasn't it?
It was a good salad, actually.
Yeah.
He's keeping going with his 5 medium or quicker than medium bowling options. Hudson Prentice bowled 3 overs for 26.
No, I thought it was a fantastic salad. As much as the viewers at home might think I've dodged a few salads in my time, let me tell you, it's very nice. Yorker played out to mid-off. This game is in its final throws. Maybe...
Danger averted, I think, by Gloucestershire, would say.
You'd hope so. You'd hope so.
Perhaps danger finally averted would be a better way to describe it.
Is that over 8 -3 or +3 there for Sussex? Because if it's +3, they're going to suffer there. Hudson Prentice in.
Van Buren's not going to give away his unbeaten 50 easily now, I don't
No.
think.
Sussex lost 4 points for the game last week against Yorkshire, and they don't want to be losing points here. It can't be +3. I mean, Coles bowled 16 overs in the first innings. It can't be, can it?
No, I think I heard a conversation amongst the scorers that at the end of the first innings they were absolutely level. Because
Defended.
of the way it's calculated. It's not individual sessions. It's adjusted at the end of each session, but you have to look at the total over the whole innings to work out where they are. And I think it might be they were either +1 or level, I think, at the end of the first innings. But with no spin this time.
Hudson Prentice in, Van Buren.
I'd be a tad surprised if they were +3, but it doesn't look like -3 on the board.
No, it doesn't. There's a little squiggle to the left of the 3, and I can't work that out. I don't know if it's a minus or a plus.
I think if it was a plus, it would just read as a 3. So they've bowled 25 overs, haven't they? We've been out since... I'm trying to work out how long we've been actually playing for.
Hudson Prentice in. Oh, inside edge from Van Buren. It's +3. Yeah, so they're all right. Yeah. Yeah, so they're 3 over where they should be in the innings, so they're all right.
So I think they've only bowled... This will be the 16th over in an hour and 8 minutes since we resumed. So they're not... They must have had a little bit in hand, I think, on the first... Perhaps they were +1 on the first innings, because I find it hard to think how that's extended it. Although they've had the wicket time factored into that with the 4 wickets going down.
Price clipping that one pleasantly off his legs. That goes for 1. Is this going to be the last over, do you think?
6 to go. Still going to be Crocombe from the Ashley Down Road end. There's a chat between Cheshire Pujara and a couple of his more senior players. I'm going to have one more, certainly. Oh, Hunt's been given the signal that he's going to come back at the pavilion end in the next over by the looks of it. So well, they're not going to let this go just yet.
This isn't a tea party, Ian.
Comes back to that
proper cricket
concept about Paul Farbrace being hard and competitive. Crocombe to Ollie Price, who seems to have taken a lot of the strike against him in the last couple of overs, and he's clipped that away past Pujara at mid-on. He's going to go all the way towards the boundary at long on.
Oh, Pujara, look at that.
And he's just about held it in to the field of play, and they've got 3.
Look at that. That's a 35-year-old overseas player who's not just here to pick up the money. He's diving there. The game's dead, and he's diving there to set an example for his team. He's the captain, and massive, massive credit there to Cheshire Pujara.
Deficit, as you can see, is now 90. But Gloucestershire still have 6 wickets in hand and only 5 overs to go after this one. I think we might get down to maybe 2 overs left. I mean, if Hunt's coming back on, he will bowl the 5th to last. He might bowl the 3rd to last. Maybe he may only have a couple. But he's got to be ready. His captain's given him the signal.
Yeah, he's been a little bit expensive, Hunt, but, you know.
3 wickets.
Yeah, showing the fiscal presence of his namesake Jeremy, perhaps.
Van Buren again. Just out on the onside, fielded by McAndrew, who probably will feel he needs an ice bath after today. He's bowled 29 overs in the match. He's taken 6 wickets in those 29 overs. That's a good effort.
Yeah.
5 in the first innings and one in the second, where he arguably deserved more than one, to be fair. Crocombe to Van Buren this time. Won't take a single out to Hudson Prentice. The full bowling figures for Sussex at the moment. McAndrew 1 for 31 from 10. Hunt 3 for 36 from 7, but he's going to be brought back on the looks of it. Tom Haynes 2 overs for 5. Hudson Prentice 4 overs for 28. He's been the one bowler that's been expensive. And Crocombe is 0 for 9 in his 4th. Van Buren waits and pulls that into the gap on the leg side. He's connected well with that. That's gone for 4. Nothing Hunt can do about that to deep backward square. And Van Buren just ensuring here that Gloucestershire are not going to have any late alarms.
In other news, Spurs have equalised at Liverpool. It's 3-3.
It was 3-0 after 14 minutes, was it not? Did I hear that right?
Good grief. Stone the Crows. $121 for 4 here.
Crocombe again to Van Buren, lets that go. It was quite low outside the off stump. I've had an email about Ollie Carter. Watching your live feed on the way back from Manchester, says Roy Taylor, not great fare from Gloucestershire in this game. You were talking about the keepers clapping. One of the highlights from my point of view was during one of his sessions, someone made the cynical comment, he sounded like a seal. That was both, he was acting like a performing seal and it was humorous at the same time.
Liverpool have just gone 4-3 up. How Spursy.
5 overs to go. Are we going to see...
Go on, Pajara, have a bowl.
And we're going to see James Coles. So the decision to put Hunt on at this pavilion end has been switched. I wonder whether we're going to have 1 over from Coles and they might then call it a day. Kind of feels like that. There's an acceptance that the seamers can't do it. If Coles should get some return out of this over, they might keep going. Other than that, maybe Pajara might think enough is enough. What are they doing with the field here?
Brian Leach just sent us a message.
Clark's going off. He was on as a sub. He was coming on as a sub. But Ali Orr's
gone.
Has in fact returned, complete with all manner of protective gear. And he's going to go in to silly mid off.
Brian Lee sent us a message. Many thanks for the commentary and streaming. That gives us the opportunity to watch from Switzerland our nephew, James Coles. And they're very proud of him. So you should be. I think he's had a really good game, Brian. He got 74 with a bat. He's bowled well as well. He didn't pick up any wickets, but he was quite tidy. And here he comes from the pavilion end. And again, makes Ollie Price play.
Sussex have done that a lot, haven't they?
Yeah. Yeah, they've been credit to them. Defended again. No run. Yeah, I think this boy's got a big future in the game, Coles. Defended again by Ollie Price.
You feel he can watch
Coles
very much from this situation.
He's going to go over the wicket, see if he can spit one out the rough. Oh, and Price gets his gloves out of the way. But this game is now meandering towards the draw. Slowly meandering. Coles. Where's that gone off his pad? Price can kick this away. If ball's pitching outside leg stump, you cannot be out LBW. So if the ball is out there, Ollie Price can boot the ball away. Uses his bat that time.
And they are going to shake hands, I think. Pujara is walking towards Graham van Buren. They are shaking hands with 4 overs to go. He has accepted that Gloucestershire have got to a point where 6 wickets are not going to fall in the last 4 overs. These two have been pretty well set from 41 for 4. They've added 80 for the 5th wicket. And Gloucestershire have secured the draw. It's taken quite a lot of graft from this 5th wicket pair. But Graham van Buren, the captain, with 55 not out, and Ollie Price with 22 not out, have foiled, I think you'd say, Sussex down after they were 16 for 3 and 41 for 4 after 10 overs. And before the interruption, that would have left them 34 overs to get 6 wickets. Definitely not impossible.
Yeah, certainly has. But credit there to Graham van Buren, showing a good captain's innings to get his side out of the mire. And Ollie Price as well, youngster. He'll have learnt a lot from that innings. And he should come out of this with credit as well. Sussex have been excellent right through the game. And they'll go home very happy. They'll take 13 points out of this. And they should go back to the South Coast very proud of their efforts. And I think they might be in the mix for promotion this year.
Overall picture then, Sussex 455 for 5 declared, Gloucestershire 248, Miles Hammond 87 not out, McAndrew 5 for 63, and then following on, needing 207 notionally, or to bat for 44 overs as it was when they started, 121 for 4 when the captain shook hands with 4 overs to go. Van Buren 55 not out. Thanks for your company over the last 4 days. Join Ed Seaborn and BBC Radio Derby's Dave Fletcher. I get that in the end. Dave Fletcher at Derby on the 11th. The stream is also in operation tomorrow for the Western Storm game. It starts here at 10:30. Obviously, if you want to come and watch the game in person, tickets available on the gate. But from James, from Elliot, from Dan, and from myself, enjoy the rest of what is, of course, a bank holiday weekend. If you're travelling, do so safely. And thanks for your company over the last 4 days. Gloucestershire against Sussex here in the Championship. Match drawn.
Very well done, and he's done superbly. And it's a big shot straight away from Phillips. There we go, he might have just turned his bat on.